Tesla will have to buy Aptera eventually. It will be better for them to do it sooner rather than later. There was a very interesting article published 2 days ago at our torquenews.com by our Tesla and Aptera reporter Jeremy Johnson, which resulted in lots of comments building a case for Tesla to buy Aptera. I want to share this with you here and see what our Torque News YouTube community think about it, and please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. So Jeremy thinks Tesla is going to buy Aptera one day, and there are a couple of reasons I see this happening, he says. The first reason is that Aptera vehicles are going to be the most efficient vehicles in the world, and it's not going to be even close. Even the very efficient Model 3 from Tesla rear-wheel driving will be dwarfed in efficiency by Aptera. Second reason, Aptera is making its charging port the exact same as a Tesla vehicle. Aptera is the first company to do this, and Jeremy says, I think it's very smart to buy Aptera. It means people will be able to drive their Aptera to a Tesla Supercharger if needed and start charging without hassle. This solves the problem of charging. So that was the second reason. The third reason, Jeremy says, Aptera is also making its electric vehicles very efficient and cost-effective to buy. Let's take a look at the 250-mile range Aptera and just how efficient it will be. Jeremy says this is the version with solar panels covering it and a single motor. The solar panels will give between 20 to 40 miles of range per day, depending on where you live and how much time you spend in the sun. This puts the base cost of that Aptera at about $26,800, 400-mile version. I think Aptera will not focus too much on software, as it will be more cost effective for them to license full self-driving and autopilot from Tesla. That is the first efficiency, is the cost to make and buy it. The 250-mile range version of the vehicle at $26,800 is going to eventually qualify for tax credits and rebates. In California, Jeremy says right now this takes off $7,500 for the vehicle federal tax credit and $4,500 for the state tax credit, depending on income. That means the 250-mile range Aptera will cost only $13,800. And that $13,800 cost is without Aptera having reached volume production. He says, I believe states in the United States are going to be offering similar rebates to California, meaning an electric vehicle is going to be a no-brainer to buy. It's going to be beyond a no-brainer. Jeremy says the Aptera will also weigh much less in the 250-mile version with fewer batteries and only 3 tires. It will be the most efficient vehicle ever made. He says, I predict that it will have a 40 kilowatt-hour battery pack and get 6 miles per kilowatt-hour without any solar panels. If you add on the solar panels for only $900, you will get about 10 miles per kilowatt-hour or more for daily driving. Even Tesla's dedicated robotaxi vehicle will not be able to compete with the solar paneled Aptera, he says. With solar panels, the Aptera can function as a robotaxi for much longer without needing to be charged. And he says, I think the Aptera could become Tesla's compact vehicle or another variation of it. I think this sounds very interesting. Aptera becoming Tesla's compact vehicle. Aptera is also focusing heavily on safety features for its vehicles, including handling collisions. This is something that aligns well with Tesla's mission. So what do you think, friends? Do you think Tesla will buy Aptera? Does this make a very good sense? Paul Rogers writes, Armin, if Tesla bought Aptera right now, they would bury it. He says, either with delays or just extra stuff that makes it later to market or robs it of its efficiency. If they buy it after it's really in production, even if there are only few thousand driving around, then I think this may well be the next Volkswagen bug. If we ever get there, I shall order one, he says. Now, Paul, it's interesting to hear your thoughts on the potential acquisition of Aptera by Tesla. While there is no way to know for sure what Tesla's intentions would be, it's possible that they could use their resources and expertise to help bring Aptera's innovative technology to a wider audience. However, as you pointed out, there is always the possibility that a larger company acquiring a smaller one could lead to delays or changes in the product's development. It's important for any acquisition to be well-timed and carefully managed to ensure the best outcome for all parties involved. I mean, in any case, it's exciting to think about the possibility of Aptera becoming the next Volkswagen Bug. And I agree that once the technology is more widely available and proven, it could be a game changer in the automotive industry, thanks to all of these innovations. Anyway, thanks for sharing your thoughts on this topic. Dean Stewart says, I am a huge Aptera fan and about 21,000 on the reservation list. Sadly, the Aptera does not qualify for any federal electric vehicle discounts because it is an autocycle, not a car, due to having 3 wheels. Hopefully, legislators will correct this oversight and incentivize such an efficient vehicle, he says. I agree with them. It will be nice to incentivize such a nice vehicle like Aptera with tax credits. Bernard Yu says, this view of Tesla possibly buying Aptera is very Tesla-centric. Aptera is a disruptive company. Aptera will end up buying Tesla at pennies on a dollar, not because Aptera needs any of Tesla's technology, but because that will be the most convenient way for Aptera to expand its manufacturing floor space. Bernard, thanks for sharing your thoughts on the possibility of Aptera buying Tesla instead of the other way around. It's always interesting to hear different perspective on these topics. You make a valid point that Aptera is a disruptive company with a unique approach to electric vehicle design or any car design in general, and it's possible that they could become a major player in the automotive industry in the years to come. However, I'm not entirely sure that acquiring Tesla would be the most convenient or cost-effective way for Aptera to expand its manufacturing floor space. How is Aptera going to be able to buy Tesla? Where will it get the cash? You know how expensive Tesla is these days as a company? You probably mean that Aptera will sell so many cars that it will grow stronger than Tesla, but that's very unlikely to see at this point. However, Aptera has very good product that is coming to market, at least at this point, I'm saying. Tesla's manufacturing facilities are quite large and advanced, and they have invested heavily in automation and production efficiency. It's possible that Aptera could benefit from partnering with or licensing some of Tesla's technology, but acquiring the entire company seems like a major undertaking that might not be necessary for their goals. Of course, it's also important to consider the various financial and strategic factors that I just mentioned that might come into play in any potential acquisition. It's always difficult to predict these kinds of things, but it's definitely an interesting topic to discuss. So thanks again for sharing your thoughts. What do you guys think? Do you think Aptera can grow one day so much that it may be able to be in a position to make an offer to buy Tesla? I don't know. So here's another important question to consider. Will Aptera owners even want to sell the company to Tesla? Tom writes an interesting comment. He says, I don't think the owners of Aptera are interested in selling the company. It was their dream once before it was taken away by investors. They reacquired their dream, and you don't give up a dream twice. Aptera has a philosophy that Tesla would never tolerate, right to repair, he says. Half of the pre-orders, including mine, would instantly drop their orders if Tesla was in charge. Today, you still can't buy a new door handle to replace your own, even a 2012 Tesla. To me, this is a travesty. So he says because of this reason, Aptera will not be selling to Tesla. But I don't know. What do you think, guys, about this? Will Tesla make an offer to buy Aptera? Will this make sense based on the reasons that Torque News, Tesla and Aptera reporter Jeremy Johnson suggested here? By the way, I will also in the description of this video put the link of Jeremy's article. You can see it, and also you can see all the comments that there are new comments coming, very interesting opinions, and of course I'll look forward to reading your opinions. Let me know, friends, your thoughts. This is Armin Harayan from TalkNews.com. Give us thumbs up if you found this report interesting and useful and helpful, and God bless you. See you soon in our next report.